Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum, and this time we are going up against some Abyss. Alright, let's go. At the bottom here, I'm playing as a supply specialist, and my opponent, Iroha, is playing as an aerial specialist. I think Iroha is about 2200 MMR. I am up against Sledgehound, and with the fans, I've just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna add another sledge. Now, truth to be told, I forgot to check his specialization. If I looked, I would realize that the best solution was just put down 2 marksmen. But I'm an idiot. I didn't check, and I'm running into his units with triple sledgehammers and fangs. So the first round is gonna go pretty predictably. We'll see what happens after that. One thing to note is that the angle of my sledgehammer fang was actually working in my favor. So I was able to actually get pretty close with the sledges, but of course not able to kill everything else. Alright, we're getting into round 2. Improved Wasp is being offered. My opponent is most definitely going to take Improved Wasp being aerial spec. I have to take it in case he takes it, and otherwise I'll fall behind. He already has tanks on the ground, so having Mustangs is difficult. Like, Mustangs into Tank Hound is just a death sentence. And I don't know if I want to go Wraith just yet. Alright, for round 2, we're going to do a little bit of cheese. If my opponent were to take the Improved Wasp, is probably going to go with the army. I don't expect him to defend. Alright, here they are. The Wasp should come to the sledges. Yes, because the sledges move forward just a little bit. So even though when you click on a Wasp, when you enter in the planning stage, you notice the Wasp might be pointing somewhat to the tower, but because the sledges move, they actually were all getting pulled. It was just a very minor distance. Okay, so this turn we're doing a lot better. We're getting double tower, and now the Wasps are coming back, which means I'm able to kind of cut down his Wasp count. There is going to be a pretty good tower, but with just 2 Wasps and a bunch of crawlers, I think I'll be okay. Now the question is, will this turn into a full-on Improved Wasp fight? Because if it does, then I am at a slight disadvantage because of the aerial spec. Wraith is being offered, and so is Typhoon. I think both of these units shuts down the Wasp pretty hard at this juncture. Alright, so Typhoon for my opponent. Because both of those units are offered, you have to expect my opponent using one of those units to counter my Wasps. So there's really no point keeping this very expensive 300 cost unit back here. And because I got the Wraith, I might as well just go ahead and use it to delete his Wasps. He probably doesn't want to do Wasp on this side because I have triple fangs. So I expect all his Wasps to be concentrated right here. The things that's kind of stopping this Wraith for doing this work are these 2 sledges, which is why I put double missiles. Usually you shouldn't do double missiles this early into the game. We're only at round 3, so that's 100 supply. But I feel like in this particular scenario, removing the sledges allow my sledges to do more damage to the hounds, and also allows my Wraith to clear out these Wasps. So I can justify that particular tempo move. My backline looks super empty, so if my opponent decides to Wasp here, or even just Phoenix, because he already unlocked it, I will be in a bit of a trouble, but he decided not to. Alright, so Wraith coming in. Wraith are going to get some pretty juicy shots. Improved Wasp give out, I think, a little bit more experience versus the regular counterparts. And now this Wraith is bringing down 2 squads of Wasps and also doing some damage onto these Typhoons. So with the tower debuff, it's able to bring one of these Typhoon down and maybe even do some damage to that second Typhoon. Level 2 Typhoons are pretty sweet. Alright, gets the tower debuff. Tanks are in line. Let's do this. Assault Fort. Big units to push the front line. Great thing about Assault Forts is that you can also use it for AA. Just a big, heavy, walking anti-air turret. Surprisingly, both of us went with the missile, with the shield. My shield, I just want to be extra annoying. And here is the aerial spec special, the Abyss. Free to unlock. Taking efficient maintenance. Free to stay on the board as well. For me, I wanted to do something a little bit spicy, so I added the Rhino with Whirlwind at level 2. These guys are extremely difficult to kill, and they don't really care about shield, so they're just going to go in and slice things up. Rhinos are also very effective against the Typhoon, which he had previously. I wasn't expecting the Abyss at round 4, so this was quite something, a very spicy move. Level 3 tower, signifying that my opponent is just pushing on one side. Alright. I have nothing at all to kill this Abyss. So, yeah, and especially with the missile on the crawler, the Abyss is just gonna, like, 2-swipe this Wraith here. However, Rhinos are doing Rhino things. We're doing some chaff clear here. Very nice. Tons of Wasp still left over. Alright, we got Fangs. Fangs are coming in at a great time because his tower is about to fall, which means even though these are improved Wasps, the Fangs are still putting in the damage. And tanks are now coming over, and hopefully we'll be able to get another tower, maybe? Yes, with the crawlers, we're going to get another tower, which means the Fangs will just continue to shoot at these Wasps. They would never kill the Abyss, but I'm happy with just reducing the Wasp count here. And just look at how long it takes for the Abyss to clear these Fangs. It's crazy. Alright, so now we're going to make a decision, right? We know there's Abyss on the ground. We know he already took efficient maintenance. Efficient maintenance just means that he can build more Abyss whenever he wants. Redeployment is necessary because your opponent is going to take redeployment and move that Abyss somewhere else. Nuke is really good, but Nuke does not kill Abyss. 88,000 versus the 75 for the Nuke. So I need to have a definitive answer against this unit. At first, I thought, hey, you know what? Let's put the Wraith back there. And then we're going to, cause some trouble. But I've decided against it. Instead, I'm going to put that in the center. We're going to missile this Hound, and we're going to put a melting point directly in line of the Abyss. I had that there because I realized there was a redeployment being offered, so I fully expect the Abyss to move over here. But then I realized I have 2 Fangs, 1 Crawler, 1 Sledgy. So if there's a single Abyss, it's going to take forever to even clear this pack. He has no chaff clear, and he needs chaff clear, and he doesn't have a unit yet that can clear chaff aside from his Hounds. So I don't know if he's going to put that there. I was really hesitating. I was going back and forth with this melter. I was like, should I go there? Should I go to back here? And eventually I just decided, you know what? Let's just put 1 here. And then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Right? With range, the melter should be able to withstand the Abyss for a bit. But we'll see. Alright, he actually moved or I think he sold one of the hounds. Therefore, the melting point was just insta locking onto the abyss, which is pretty sweet. And one great thing about rhinos is that they sometimes can dodge like the whole shot of the abyss like entirely, which is really good. Alright, we got Wraith here. Can my Wraith clear everything while the fans distract the abyss? I think the answer is yes, and if that is indeed the case, then my Melter should be able to lock onto that. Very nice. There it is. Cool, and it's good damage because we got a 300 and a 350, so this is good. Alright, now things gets a little scary. EM is being offered, and so is Incendiary. I think I just need to clear a line for my Melter. Incendiary isn't as impactful as for my opponent because instead of putting out a lot of chaff, I just use a lot of tank with these rhinos. I'm putting back a Wraith here in case he puts things on the flank, and also an additional fan just to distract the abyss a little bit further. Okay, my opponent actually sold his abyss. I thought he was going to reposition, so I guess he just really didn't want the abyss there, period. Sold the abyss, got the Wraith, bought another abyss, and also got the Dark Companion. Dark Companion is a pretty good card because he allows the Wraith to tank that initial shot from the Melter while doing some type of chaff clear. But the weakness is, of course, well, Melter. It kills the Wraith really quickly, and right after that, it gets to lock onto the Abyss very quickly. So the goal is really for the Abyss to kill the Melter before everything dies. Alright, good Wraith here. That one is pretty much holding down a fort for everything. However, depending on how well this missile lands, maybe on the Hounds, maybe on the Abyss, I'm not sure. Oh, the Melter actually locked onto the Abyss very quickly. So this was super lucky. I was not expecting that. I thought for sure these Hounds were going to be locked on first. Alright, my Rhino running to the tower, gets the tower, and now we got double Melter onto the Abyss. And this round is super over. All right. Lots of good options, but nothing in particular that's useful. I think the Fire Badger or maybe the Storms were pretty decent if you want to do some sort of cheese. Fire Badger is just an extra body that, and also delayed chaff clear that you can use in case your Wraith die. In this case, I want to do a bit of cheese. I understand this is level 3 tower, but I also have level 3 storms. So with high explosive, I was hoping to like take down this tower very quickly. The real challenge though was this level 1 Wraith. It's kind of standing in front of the storm, so it can kill it pretty quickly. Alright, adding more level 2 Rhinos because they are awesome and they dodge these purple beams pretty effectively. Unfortunately, my opponent did put down some fangs, which means this little cheeky play is not going to pay off. But that's okay though, it's only 100 on this technology, and if it doesn't work, I just keep selling these storms. I have no intention of using these storms for anything else, so think of it as just an additional shield. But if it does work, it's going to be sweet. You can get that tower, and then your Melters will lock onto the Abyss, right? It's fantastic. Alright, range on the Abyss, which means they can now hit my melting point without moving too far. And all it takes is 2 swipes. Okay. Alright, Rhino coming in. Good missile, slowing down this Rhino. Okay, the other Rhino is actually doing great chaff clear here. Eventually goes down. And that leaves the level 3 Wraith to do some work. However, It gets one. Ah, I got distracted by the fans. Okay, so I got a single level 2 melting point. It should be able to get at least one abyss. Yep. And now it's being bombarded by stormcallers. And a tower. Okay. Good damage. Round 7. Berserk Rhino is a spicy card. It's pretty much free. And nobody ever takes it. But the good thing about that is every time you kill a unit, you have your Rhino's damage increase by 10% for the round. So eventually you'll get to like some ridiculous number, like 40,000 per swipe, and it just goes to a tower and just goes swipey swipe, and it goes boom. So that's what I was hoping for. I mean, additional deployment was also cool, but I know I was going to spend a lot of money on melting point, so I just couldn't really justify it for additional deployment. I didn't need chaff anyways because there's going to be 1 Wraith plus the 3 Dark Companion for the Abyss. So chaff on the ground is not going to last too long. I'd much rather spend the money on the Rhino. The 4th Abyss comes in. Always a scary sight. It's probably going to get that shield too. Not that it really matters. I only have the shield there to be annoying. Alright, energy absorption on the melters. In case any of these Abyss are facing down the melter, so he gets all of his HP back. Alright, move the crawler over there because I have no late chaff, so this is the crawler. On the other side, at least I have some sledgies and high level rhinos. Now the rhinos have photon coating, which means they are getting in extra fast. You can see how they're just like dodging these shots, no problem. What's the damage on this rhino? 37. Oh my god. And that's what I was talking about, right? These rhinos just getting like a ridiculous amount of HP. Not HP, damage from Berserk Rhino. It's one of those meme cards that nobody ever picks, but when you do, and you understand what the purpose is, which is to rush high level towers, it just becomes so good. And just like that, we have the triple melting point, triple Wraith, triple Rhino, endgame comp. And that shuts down 4 abysses. So it was a very fun game, and it also shows the Abyss weakness, which is the purple beam's delay. If you have fast moving units like the Rhino, you can dodge quite a lot of those beams. And also showcase just a little bit about the fun Berserk Rhino card that nobody ever picks. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this game, and if you want to see another one, here's one for you. And I will see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.